Welcome to this week's episode of the Remy Podcast. I am more times than not am Remy, and I am here this week with our very own Special K, Corey Smith.
Special K, how y'all doing today? Glad to be back on the show.
You just wanted to rhyme.
That's it.
Senior rhyming correspondent, Corey Smith.
It's a new title every time I come on.
I think everybody on this show has 30 titles or tiles. I don't know. I don't count your bathroom.
Hey.
I ain't about that life. But something we can count on is over 13 seasons played by our leading off story this week. Yesterday, sad but blatantly expected news in that Troy Tulowitzki retired. The career hitter, Wow, I just murdered that absolute sentence, but that's what you get. Career 290 career average, 1,391 career hits, 225 home runs. He was a five-time All-Star. His 985 fielding percentage at shortstop is an MLB record. Like I led into, 13 seasons played with the Colorado Rockies, Toronto Blue Jays, and 2 games as a New York Yankee before he went out again. He is going to be an assistant coach with the University of Texas, Hook'em Horns. That's what they do?
Yeah,
that's what they do.
I guess that's what they do down there. They put the thumbs with the 2 middle fingers, and then they let the pointer and the pinkies just hang out, I guess.
2 in the thumb, 2 in the air. I don't know. I don't think that's going on a T-shirt. Some fond memories of Tulo overall as a player. There was a time period where he was arguably the greatest shortstop playing. He was on track for a Hall of Fame career, and then just injury after injury after injury, derailed him and frustrated him.
Yeah, definitely agree. I know, like I said, this is super unfortunate, and even when he first came into the league, back in 2007, not sure if you're aware, but he was the runner-up behind Ryan Braun, another great. So, that goes to show it's a great start to his career, and it's kind of, sad to see him end it this soon. But
it's also sad to see that you mentioned Ryan Braun, and that's another guy whose career started out like gangbusters, and then he's there, although I think the Brewers wish he wasn't, but right. But yeah, no, it's a good point. Tulo was for a very long time a fantastic player. You have a little bit more on some other things he's done, right?
Yeah. So I know, like I said, when he first started out with the Rockies, he spent 10 seasons in there. That's kind of where he made his name known, which is kind of where I came on board, kind of, starting to follow him. But yeah, even then, like I said, one of the greatest shortstops to play the game at the time. And once he moved over to the Blue Jays, I know he kind of, made the postseason 2 years in a row. Played a big pivotal part on that team as well to get them where they got. And then, like I said, finally ended up as a Yankee to, retire in the great pinstripes.
That meant a lot to him, but shifting from a player who had some success in the I guess he didn't really have success there, but shifting from the American East. Wow, I am speaking. Today's show is going to be the Jeremy Makes 30 Verbal Errors show. We're going to switch over to our opener. We want to talk a little bit about the AL Central. They don't get too much love on this show, but mainly focusing about the Minnesota Twins and Cleveland Indians because no one cares about the White Sox or the Royals or the Tigers unless you're talking about trades at the moment. I'm not besmirching those teams, but what is it? Everybody else is 10 games back in that division?
So the Twins and the Indians are within 2 games of each other, and the White Sox are now 16 games behind the Twins. And then even then, you got the Tigers at 30 games out.
Yeah, that's not a competitive division outside of those 2 teams. But the main thing right now is why we're bringing this up is at the start of the season, everybody wanted, and I think you had mentioned to me earlier that you were on the show when we were talking about Cleveland trying to sell off their pitchers.
Right.
And that's, seemed like, all right, something they should do, especially as they, fell off the face of the earth. But, after the past month plus, the Indians are now trailing the Twins by 2 games. They still have the potential, and I guess this is where we want to go, is both of these teams are competing for playoff spots. One of them will most likely go in as a wild card team, so both of those teams will most realistically enter the playoffs. Mm-hmm. The Indians, as we were alluding to, have pitchers that they could potentially trade. And the big thing on Twitter and the talking heads on ESPN, well, why would the Indians trade, now that they're contending? And there's still that little bit of the Indians have a lot of frontline starters. Shane Bieber developed into a tremendous talent. I don't think anybody saw that coming. They've stabilized a little bit. If I butcher his name, I apologize, but Oscar Mercado has helped them out quite a bit. But I still think they want a frontline sort of young corner outfielder that maybe one of their pitchers, specifically Trevor Bauer, who has a year left, could net them. So that is still potentially worth talking about. We were going to talk about Brad Hand, but I think they've cooled on trying to trade the reliever. I think if a piece for the Indians does get traded, it would be Bauer, and net potentially like a Clint Frazier from the Yankees, who the Indians still have their eye on. I don't think they're not running away with the division anymore. The Twins obviously are still going to trade pieces, but from everything I've heard, I don't know how much flexibility the Twins have compared to some of the other markets that are looking for talent out there. The Astros, the Yankees, potentially even the Red Sox.
Right, yeah.
So that could also change the race a little bit. And then the Yankees, Corey and I are both pleased. Took 2 out of 3 in a recent slugfest.
Yeah.
And so that's, the Indians have been about 2 behind the Twins for a couple of days now. But looking at this race, do you think even if the Indians, do trade Bauer, do you think that offense is really hampering them, or do you think that they should retain Bauer because the strength that he is as a starter is worth more than netting, maybe a little bit more production from the offense side of things? How are we looking, Corey?
Sure. Yeah. I think that Trevor Bauer is definitely playing a huge role in the success with that they're doing. I know I read somewhere where they are kind of, wondering what's Kluber going to come back to, when he returns. So that's another question in the market there. But even if they let Bauer go, I still think the offensive side will be able to generate enough, offensive power to kind of keep them in the race, here on out, especially with the pitching that they can, field off of that they have already.
Well, yeah, you have Corey and I each have notes by us. You mentioned you got Zach Plesac on there. You got Adam Plutko. I can't pronounce that man's name. Yeah, I'm botching things left and right. I am the voice of reason, right? Yeah. But that's why they can't let Bauer go. They have that depth of talent, and if they can get a future piece, I think that's worth it to them to do.
Right, yeah. And like I said, then they can start fresh, and then they don't have to, kind of lead on Bauer and things like that. So I think he's played his good time in Cleveland.
Yeah, so he might be happy trails, and I think he would potentially be one of the more exciting. I was going to say he'd be one of the more exciting starters on the market, but it's an interesting transition. But our dumpster fire of the week, always a contender, is the New York Mets. Yesterday morning, Corey, there was rumors going around online that Noah Syndergaard could be heard in the Mets clubhouse, basically yelling on the phone to his agent to get him the hell out of there. Mm-hmm. Like, whatever you got, like, help me get out of here. Why that's interesting is, and things get blown out of proportion, what have you, but the Mets, by some various reports, Ken Rosenthal from The Athletic had reported that the Mets are now willing to trade Syndergaard over maybe Zach Wheeler, who they may now extend. Thor's season has been a little interesting. This season he's got a 4.33 ERA, 1.26 WHIP. It's pitched about a little over 126 innings, 36 walks, 126 strikeouts. He signed through 2021. He's 26 years old. Wheeler is 29 years old. So, I know Thor is not having a consistent season. He's had his ups and downs. Maybe playing for a contender would sort of reinvigorate him. Mm-hmm. But how do you basically go from all right, this guy's completely off the table, we're trading the Wheeler, who we haven't had any success with. Then, things get out there that, all right, maybe this dude is not happy here. And then your big play to your fan base is, all right, let's keep the older guy who can't pitch consistently at all. Wheeler's got a lot of upside. Teams are into him.
Right.
but he's never had any kind of consistency whatsoever. And then there's rumors out there, that the Mets don't want to trade with the Yankees, even if they could get the best offer from them. Like this, it's not that the rivalry's one-sided. We trash Mets fans as much as they trash us. But if that's who's giving you the best offer, I mean, they're not the Braves, they're not the Nats, they're not in your division. Yeah, they're in your city, and if you see Thor win the World Series with them, yeah, it stings a little. But if your franchise needs cornerstone players. If the Yankees could give you a big package of Clint Frazier and Deivi Garcia, and I don't know who else they'd want, Tyro Estrada, Jonathan Loaizaga, whoever. Might be good cornerstones for the Mets' future. I don't understand this thing in their head where we can't help the Yankees win.
Yeah, no, I don't get it either. Hindsight looking at it, if the Mets were to let Syndergaard go, like you mentioned, they are going to get more of a benefit in the long run as opposed to just hanging on to him or trying to, let's not give him away to this team so that we can avoid him from getting there. So, yeah, I think, like I said, as long as they let him go, the Mets will benefit more so than that, especially with their farm system and then the prospects that they have coming up.
Yeah, I think they need some positives out of this season after Edwin Diaz and Robinson Cano didn't quite work out for them.
Right.
Things they need. The Brody Van Wagenen needs a win here. That kind of segues a little bit because obviously we're talking about trades and things, but we're going to close the show. Last week we talked about potential starters that were available for the trade deadline upcoming on Wednesday, and we just wanted to talk about the relief market a little bit because starters and relievers are going to be the biggest pieces sort of to go. I have 5 relievers here. It's not a particular order or anything like that. Just relievers I felt were likely to go. I could have, like we said earlier, I could have put Brad Hand on this list, but I don't think the Indians are going to trade him anymore. I could have put Edwin Diaz from the Mets on this list, but he got hurt last night.
Right.
I don't know about that. So it just there's a ton of people that could be on this list, but I just try to condense it down. The first person I put on here is the Detroit Tigers' Shane Green. He's got 22 saves this season, 0-2, a 1.22 ERA. He's pitched 37 innings, 41 strikeouts, an 8.65 WHIP. Teams that I've heard of that are interested in him, the Dodgers from Michael Durate from NBC LA. Jason Beck from MLB.com said the Nationals could be in on him. The Red Sox, I heard from Jamal Collier from MLB.com. The Phillies, Jim Salisbury from NBC Sports Philly, and George King of the New York Post said that the Yankees are interested in a reunion with Mr. Green. I mean, you could add probably 10 other teams to that. I think Shane Green is the most attractive reliever out there. He's been a solid closer. This has been sort of his most breakout season. He was a starter with the Yankees, transitioned to the bullpen, nothing special. He was part of the trade that got us Didi Gregorius. Yep. I think that's where most Yankees fans remember Shane Green from. I do think in terms of the back end of a bullpen, he's a game changer.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would definitely agree. I know I read it. The Nats are really trying hard to get him just to kind of piggyback on Sean Doolittle so they can have that dynamic duo up in D.C. to kind of bring things around for them since they're in that race up in the NL East. But definitely, yeah, he's definitely one to look out for. And then also Alex Colon from the White Sox, another big one out there as well.
I have Alex on my list. He's got where is he at here? Do you have his I don't have a saves total.
I didn't have it. I know he was around the 20 mark too. I thought kind of similar.
21 saves. I do have it.
Similar to Sean Green.
3-1, 2.33 ERA, 38 innings pitched, 30 Ks, 8.02 WHIP.
Yep.
And so Bruce Levine saying the Braves were interested in him.
Right. Yeah. So the Nats and the Braves are definitely ones looking for relief pitchers. I guess trying to like I said keep that race tight up in the NL East. So
I could see them going that way. The Giants have also about 3 or 4 different relievers that I keep seeing mentioned, with Will Smith and Sam Dyson and Tony Watson, but focusing on Will Smith because I think he's the most intriguing name. 24 saves this season, 3-0, 2.44 ERA, 44.1 innings pitched, 65 strikeouts. and a 8.80 ERA, God help me, and a .880 WHIP. Yeah. I'm not drunk. I'm not Ruben, I promise. Teams mentioned, John Morosi mentioned the Rays and the Dodgers. Robert Murray from The Athletic said the Brewers are in on him. Mike Petrillo from MLB.com mentioned the Twins is having some interest in the star lefty. Will Smith, I think, the Giants are kind of in that weird holding pattern too because they're starting to contend. I do think Will Smith does go, and I can't imagine the Giants trade him with like the Dodgers or the Rays. I mean, the Twins could be a good solid fit, but I think the trend here is going to be kind of like what you were talking about with the NL East with the Braves, and I think the Braves and Nationals are a good fit for Smith as well.
Definitely, yeah. Like I said, they are two of the top teams who are definitely in need of a reliever. And like I said, Smith coming from the Giants would definitely be a help, I would say, to either one of those ball teams, for sure.
No, the next guy I got on my list, I got two more on this list since we've touched on Colome and Smith and Green. Ken Giles is mentioned pretty frequently from the Toronto Blue Jays. He's got 14 saves this season. He had some injuries. Has been 2-2, 1.59 ERA, 34 innings, 58 strikeouts, a 1.088 WHIP. So, little high on walks. Ken Giles is mostly known as the dude who punched himself in the face during the playoffs after the Yankees lit him up. He's been a closer before. He was the closer for the Astros. He was a closer for the Phillies before. No slack when it comes to playoff and big game experience. I've heard that the Braves are interested in him. Peter O'Brien from The Athletic. And then I saw on NewJersey.com that the Yankees and Red Sox are interested in him. I think Giles is an AL East piece because I think just the familiarity, especially with being with Toronto for the past, it's a year plus, but the Yankees and Sox both have seen him in the playoffs before, being able to pitch in the AL East, being able to pitch in big-time situations, and that the Blue Jays may end up packaging him with Marcus Stroman to get a better return. Not that Stroman doesn't yield a great return on his own right, but just I don't know. I think I could see the Sox or Yankees or even the Twins maybe taking a crack at Giles.
Yeah, definitely agree. Like I said, I was thinking more so probably Boston. I know they are kind of hurting on the closing position as well.
Oh, they put Eovaldi as the closer now.
Right. So any help for them, I think is beneficial at this time. So like I said, something big like this might be what they need, just to kind of turn it around to kind of keep them in the loop as well.
They need something. That bullpen's their weakness. The last pitcher that I kind of wanted to not gloss over, but another former Yankee on this list, Kirby Yates, the closer for the Padres. 31 saves, 0-2, 1.05 ERA, 43 innings pitched, 70 strikeouts, .814 WHIP. Everybody on the planet's interested in this dude. The Yahoo Sports reported the Dodgers, Twins, and Nationals. Ken Rosenthal mentioned the Yankees. Bradford Doolittle from ESPN mentioned the Yankees. I hope I said Rosenthal Red Sox, not Yankees. But yeah, this is the best spoken podcast for me forever. Yankees are familiar with Yates. I know a lot of these teams are enamored with him. Yates is one of those guys that I do think goes to a big market team that could give a greater dearth of prospects or breadth of prospects for him, since he's been incredibly impressive. Those are some solid numbers. He's a strikeout machine.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. And I know the Padres seem to have like a young pitcher that they just brought up to the majors as well. So they seem to have a lot of young players in their farm system. So, letting him go probably wouldn't be too hurtful for the Padres. But like Jeremy mentioned, like so the Yankees or, big name team like that probably seems to be a good fit for him in that market that he's in.
All right, we're gonna play a game, all right, to kind of close things out.
All right.
We're gonna play the prediction game, all right, Corey?
Prediction game.
So I know we attributed to the Braves and Nationals for like everybody.
All right.
So we're going to go back over these 5, right? And you're going to tell me where you think they end up. Right. By July 31st, where they end up. And you can pick stay. You can pick that they don't get traded. That's right. Cool, too.
So we're going to go hardest to easiest?
Nah, we're just going where does Shane Green end up?
Shane Green.
I'm putting you on the spot.
Let's see here. Honestly, first thoughts, I was saying he makes a reunion with the Yanks.
I like that pick.
And we pick him back up, and then that would be our, like, kind of bread and butter for the finale of the season.
Just have it just like that insane bullpen. I could see that. I'm going to agree with you.
That was my go-to initially, just thinking about it.
I'm gonna agree with you. So all right. So you can't use Yankees anymore, right?
All right.
That's your pick. So that's your guy.
Yep.
Will Smith.
So I'm gonna probably go Braves on him.
You're gonna go Braves on Smitty?
Yeah, he's the lefty, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Braves for him because I know they've been seeming like everywhere I've read that they're looking for more of a left-handed reliever, and I think he's like one of the top guys in the market. So I'm going to go Braves.
I've seen nobody mention this, and it's entirely possible that I'm just blowing smoke out of my rear, but Cubs need a huge lefty. And I know Cubs are not, like, associated with any single person we've just said.
Right.
So I'm gonna go Cubs just to kind of shuffle the deck.
Okay, I hear you.
All right, Ken Giles.
Now, I'm going to say Boston.
Boston for Giles?
That was my Boston pick.
All right. Now, question: If he lets the Yankees go deep on him in the playoffs again, does he punch himself in the face relentlessly again? Does that happen?
That's probably a definite right there.
Please Google Ken Giles punches self in face. I appreciate the fires of competition, but yes, Ken Giles punches self in face. This one hurts me since we used the Yankee pick, but Kirby Yates.
I know. Yeah, I was hoping the Yanks, but. Yeah, no, I mean, maybe the Nats, maybe. I know he's a big name target, but can the Nats pull it off? Are they interested? Or not
the Nats are interested. Yeah, they're one of the teams associated with him.
Yeah. So that might be another. I mean, he's in the National League on the West Coast. They might be thinking about, hey, let's bring him over here, East Coast, use him in our relief system, but possibility for sure.
No, absolutely. I'm gonna say I think he's the guy the Dodgers are gonna get.
Really? Okay.
I the only reason I think that is I don't is as much as the Dodgers are like scouting the Giants system. I can't see the Giants trading with the Dodgers.
True.
I can't see that.
It's a lot, yeah. Especially within the same division.
No. Padres fans. I'm sorry, Padres fans. All five of you, I'm sorry. Giants fans, if I'm wrong about you guys wanting to or being willing to trade with the Dodgers, let me know. All right, the dark horse of the race that we both kind of saw as a good kind of pick to move. Where do you think Alex Colomé moves to? That's a hard one, right?
It's a hard one. It's a tough one. So I don't have the Yanks. Nats, Red Sox,
Braves.
You
don't have those.
So those are the ones I've already chosen. So let's see.
That's the hard part about this.
Because I mean, the Dodgers are looking for relief too, but I think they got Kenley Jensen and they got Pedro Baez, but I just don't think Colomé would be a good fit.
I don't either.
I just don't think it would be. Now I have seen, I don't know if you saw, but Jake Dykman from the Royals. Yeah. The Dodgers seem like they might be interested in him. So
Phillies, I think, could be interested in him too.
Yeah, that could be another one that if the Dodgers are looking for that relief, they could pick up a big time name that way.
I don't know where.
So they might stay maybe because the White Sox, I know they're kind of 16 games back. It's a couple more months left in the season. I know it's a shot in the dark, but
he's not one of these top tier names, which is why I think. Just hear me out.
Yeah.
Twins.
Okay.
Twins need some relief help, and I know it's in division, but I don't think for a move like that the White Sox would balk at it because it's not like trading Jose Abreu or somebody to the Twins. It's trading a guy who's been a decent closer, or he was the closer for the Rays for a little bit.
True.
Trade him back to Tampa.
Yeah.
See what you could get. I don't know. There's a lot that's going to be shuffled around. I'm sure. Actually, next week I will be here. Sorry, I'm going to North Carolina next week. Friday we will have next week a kind of a trade deadline recap show. Maybe I'll get as many of us as possible to just kind of analyze trades and stuff, and that'll be the order of the day. And then anything else embarrassing the Mets do, because it's hilarious to me. That's fair. Corey, you going to be here next week?
I will be here next week.
So, Ruben's probably wandering alleyways and streets drunk somewhere, and Lord Matthews, according to our senior Matt Gabriel correspondent, Dave Stenberg, Matt Gabriel is chasing meth gators. So we'll see where we're at next week. Hopefully a meth gator free show.
Stop dumping your meth down the toilet.
Stop dumping your meth down toilets. If that's the only takeaway that you get from this podcast,
do not do it.
It gets in the water. I drink it. Then we have a slurring, like stammering Jeremy show, and then it's just not what you want. This is a meth gator free show here on TRP. Next week, trade deadline analysis. Corey being here. Possibly the resurrected corpses of Lord Matthew and Ruben. Who knows? Cats and dogs living together. That's TRP.
TRP.